Welcome everybody to the Daily Mastermind for Mortgage Mastermind Group. I'm Paul Baxter. I'm here to help you grow. Guys, you are on the daily class. It's always talking about strategies and specific strategies to help mortgage lenders grow their business. I mean, that's the bottom line. We are here for one reason. We want more loans to come through. And so I try to bring you strategies that I know are going to be based on my previous track record, based on other people that I talk to all the time. I want to try and bring you strategies that are going to, if you implement them, they will make a difference in your business. This LinkedIn strategy, I know firsthand. It works because I've used the same strategy for fishing. As you guys know, I'm a big time, I love to do some fishing, and I do a lot of tournaments. I probably fish upwards of 20 tournaments a year. And money is always an obstacle when it comes to tournament fishing. It can get quite expensive with entry fees and gear and wear and tear on the equipment and things like that. And so we're always looking for sponsors. So I thought, you know, after talking to a couple of loan officers that were doing the same strategy, I thought, what a great way for me to be able to, you know, let me see if this works for creating sponsors. And lo and behold, guys, in 90 days, I literally had more opportunities sponsorship-wise than I knew how to handle. So I can tell you from firsthand, this does work. Yesterday, again, we talked about sprucing up the profile on LinkedIn, making sure that you've got a good quality summary. By the way, did you know that parts of your summary are also search engine optimizable? Google has gone in the direction with the Hummingbird update. It is taking a lot more indicators and putting a lot more weight in their algorithm. The number is a lot heavier now with social media sites, including LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. And so having a good profile and your profile optimized for what it is that you do, you know, especially with local indicators and things like that. So kind of doing some of the things with search engine optimization with your profile, in addition to having a good summary that paints that picture. Here's who I help. Here's how I help them. Make sure that you're including keywords and phrases in those profiles, and make sure that your profile, your description of who you are and what you do on LinkedIn matches your description on your Facebook fan page of who you are and what you do. And make sure that that matches your description in your Twitter account for who you are and what you do, because having that like information, it's only going to serve to help you when people do a Google search for you and they find you via the social indicators that are coming up. Specifically, we're talking about sprucing up the profile because what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the tools that are available to us inside of LinkedIn to get people to recognize us and to see us as an expert, as an influencer, and be inclined to want to. What'll happen is over time, if you do the strategy right, people start reaching out to you. Instead of you having to try to connect with people, they start reaching out to you because you're being seen as a top influencer. You're being seen as somebody different. So today we're going to be talking about that. That's, you know, setting up that profile. That was all getting ourselves ready for what we're going to for today's strategy, and that's using LinkedIn groups to the max. And there's my little to the max picture. So what exactly are groups? LinkedIn groups provide a place that's a tongue twister right there. Try and say that 5 times fast. LinkedIn groups provide a place for professionals in the same industry or with similar interests to share content, find answers, post and view jobs, make business contacts, and here's the biggest one of all, and this is why you guys should really be paying attention to this, and establish themselves as industry experts. That's what we're going to kind of use the groups for, to leverage, is to create those business contacts and establish ourselves as industry experts. Okay? So how do you find the groups of real estate agents? I mean, that's who our target is. We're looking to create referral partnerships with real estate agents, so that's who our target is. How do you find those groups of real estate agents? Well, you're going to use LinkedIn search, and the LinkedIn search box at the top of every single page allows you to search for people, allows you to search for jobs, companies, groups, and more, and you can click on any of the search suggestions that appear in the drop-down as you type in what you're looking for or submit your query for a full search result. And here's what it looks like. So at the top of every page on LinkedIn, you've got your search. There's a little drop-down menu over there that you can drop down and you can select to only search groups for the specific query that you type in. So you're going to search for groups about real estate, right? I mean, it only makes sense. Now, you don't want to be sitting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and search for groups about real estate and be looking at results for the California Association of Realtors, or be looking at the Greater Phoenix Area Realtor Association. You want to be specific. So be specific in your searches for what you're looking for. So I did Florida real estate would be what I'm looking for because I'm in Florida, right? Or if I want to be more specific, I would say Tampa Bay area real estate if I want to narrow it down to my specific backyard. So kind of be smart about how you're searching. Now, you also take into consideration that you want to be part of groups that are all over the state, which is why I did Florida. I can do alone in Miami just the same way I can do alone in Jacksonville and right here in Tampa. So can you. And again, what you're looking to do with LinkedIn is you're reaching out or you're branching out and you're becoming an industry expert, but you've got to be part of the group first and become engaged. And we'll talk about the strategy as we go through it. And the first thing you do is as you find these groups, you're going to join all the groups that you can find that have to do with what you're looking at. So the Florida Realtors Association has 700 members. I definitely want to join that group. Northeast Florida Association of Realtors, that has 466 members. Join. Central Florida Commercial Association of Realtors, that's commercial. I may not want to join that one. We'll see. But there are, over and over, multiple groups that I can join up. Different searches bring me different results. So I find groups that are maybe the Coldwell Banker in the local Palm Harbor area has a private group on LinkedIn with 270 members. Now that could be a bunch of realtors, but it could also be a bunch of clients. I want to become a member of that as well and start to engage and become an expert, become somebody that is an influencer on that page as well. So any and all groups that you can find, what you're looking for in the grayed out area is the total number of members that they have, and the green is members that are in your network. Now what in your network means on LinkedIn is that it is people that are either a first or a second degree connection. Remember yesterday we had the conversation. A first degree connection is somebody that you are directly connected with. They sent you a request, you accepted it, you sent them a request, they accepted it. However that is, you're a direct connection. A second degree connection is somebody that is connected to somebody that you're also connected to. So for instance, Joy is connected to Jeff. I'm connected to Jeff. That would make Joy a second degree connection to me, right? That's how that works. That's what in your network means, is somebody that is either a first or a second degree connection. Those are considered in your network, okay? So that's how you interpret the numbers here. And then again, go through and connect or join, ask to join as many groups as you possibly can. Now, the thing about groups is by default when you're setting up a group and you're creating your own group, it is by default set as a private or a closed group. Now you can change that setting if you are creating a group. Most people that create a group, most groups, and that's what makes most groups on LinkedIn, closed groups. What that means is it requires for you to request to join. You're not actually a member of the group until an administrator goes in and approves your request. The dilemma with that is unlike Facebook, people don't have it on their phone. People typically don't have LinkedIn on their phone. People check LinkedIn once, twice a week. They check it based on a notification or that they received in their email, something like that. It is not an everyday thing. So when you request to join some groups, it may take you as much it may take a few days or as much as a few weeks to get you approved. If after a couple of weeks you haven't been approved, go back and try and join again. If you don't get approved, there are some groups that have recently started not approving loan officers on the real estate group. So you'll run into that time to time, especially some of those that are like the Coldwell Banker group that has an administrator that's paying close attention to who's joining and who's not. It may be a little more difficult to join those groups, but that's okay. You're simply trying to get into as many groups that are specifically about real estate as you can so that you can start to become engaging on those groups. Now, once you are approved, get acquainted with the group. Like other people's posts. Comment when appropriate. Do not join up a group and start out by posting your own content, even if you think it's relevant. Let me repeat that. Do not start out as a new member of a group and post your own content, even if you think it's relevant. You need to comment and like on many other people's posts for the first couple of weeks and do it as frequently as you possibly can, as many posts as you possibly can. Comment on, like them, connect with some people that are part of the group. Spend a couple of weeks indoctrinating yourself into the group before you make any kind of post. That's the strategy behind what we're doing. That's the ninja side of what we're doing. You cannot just jump into these private groups. There's going to be a handful of active members and a whole lot of non-active members. You can't jump in and start posting your stuff. The active members will rebel. The active members you'll create a little bit of animosity. You can't just jump in like that, especially a loan officer on a realtor group. There is nothing worse than a loan officer posting on a realtor group that says, hey, I've got the best rates in town, call me to find out what current rates are. Guess what that loan officer is seen as on that group? Well, that's the pariah, that's the spam post. Ignore that one. They ignore those posts, okay? But if you become active, if you say you like, hey, that's great information when Susie posts, hey, the housing sales are up in Baltimore 57% year over year. We're super excited about it. Susie's posting about her business. It's real estate specific. She's a realtor. She's allowed. You can comment on that. You can like that. That's what you engage with, but that's not the kind of thing that you post. Don't start out that way especially. You'll get your opportunity to post. You cannot start out that way. You're setting yourself up to be looked at as not the cool guy on the block. You want to come into the cool school, start out by just, hey, you're cool, I like your stuff, and like other people's stuff. Be cool to other people first. You'll get your opportunity. Getting back to your groups. Now, once you've joined some of these groups, you're going to want to be able to get back to them. To do so, if you remember our conversation yesterday about getting to know the dashboard, I mentioned we're going to talk about interests. Interests is where your groups are, so you would just hover over the word interest, click on groups, and that brings you to your groups dashboard. Now, you've got a couple of things going on here. You've got a snapshot at the top of all your different groups, and if you click drop view more, I'm a member of 24 different groups, as you can see here. So most of them Professional Fishermen's Information Gallery, American Fisheries, American Made Fishing Tackle, Angling Trade, the Buzz of Fly Fishing Biz, Bass Fishing Network. I mean, and 24 groups very similar to it. This is a little snapshot, and if I drop down that menu, it'll show me a snapshot of all of them. And the snapshot is cool. I use that a lot more than I use this newsfeed part. Now, if you scroll down, you've got just a basic newsfeed of all your different groups. But as you can see, not all my groups have something going on, and that's why I like the snapshot, because it shows me that there's 3 bits of activity going on this group. There's 1 new bit of activity going on this group. There's nothing going on in the American Fisheries Society, right? So it makes it easier for me to pick and choose where I'm going to engage, what I need to engage with. I can see that, hey, there's three things going on. There's some chatter going on the fishing professionals information gathering. I need to head over there and engage with that stuff. Hey, there's some new talk going on the Bass Fishing Network thing. I need to go over to the Bass Fishing Network and talk and you know, engage with that post. Did all these groups approve your request to join that group? Yeah, they had to. In order to make it to the list of my groups, they all had to approve. They don't make it to this list until you're approved to become a member. Okay? Now, with the fishing network, some of them were closed groups, some of them were open groups. Like as you can see, Angling Trade, the Buzz on the FlyBiz, see the little lock down here, this little icon that's in the image? That indicates that that's a closed group or private group. If it doesn't have the little lock, like American Fisheries Society doesn't have the little lock, that's an open group. You don't have to be approved for an open group. And therein lies the crux. I have found much more engagement happens. There's much more activity. People are much more apt to engage on posts or feel more free in the private groups because it is much less spammy. How do you prevent other loan officers, my competition, from seeing my real estate agent's contacts? You don't. That's part of LinkedIn is you know, you don't have to approve being a friend with them, and there are some privacy settings on LinkedIn that you can set that would make it so that others can't see your connections. But honestly, I don't recommend doing that. It's more of a pain than it's worth. I don't even really, I could do some research and figure out how to do it. It's not that big of a deal. You're going to have crossover. Most of your, here's the thing, is everybody knows that it's easy to connect with other business professionals on LinkedIn. The thing that nobody knows how to do or nobody's doing correctly is leveraging that into actually creating relationships with it. Nobody's actually, you know, the typical loan officer will have 200, 300, let's say 500 real estate agent connections, and they think the best way to go about doing business or creating a relationship with them is to make a profile update or a status update that says, hey, rates are at an all-time low. Call me about the current rates on FHA housing. Hey, did you know we can get a clear to close in 22 days? Give me a call to find out how. There's no real benefit. They're not doing anything to engage with the real estate agent. They're not doing anything to differentiate themselves. Oh, there's another loan officer post, just like the other 6 loan officer posts I've got in my news feed. No different. They all look the same. The words even blend together. No one remembers any of those things because they're not giving anything helpful. They're self-promoting. So what we're doing is, yep, we're connecting in the same way, but we're using groups to differentiate ourselves by engaging in the agent's posts, engaging in what they're doing, and then giving them access to the cool things that we have access to. And we're going to talk about that part in just a minute here. So you can also see the complete member list of any group that you're a member of. And this is a big one, guys. This is a big part of the strategy. Because you are in the same group, LinkedIn makes it super, super easy for you to connect to people. So when you're on a group, you would just go to, notice I'm on the Miami and Greater South Florida real estate, residential, and commercial properties. This is a huge group of real estate agents. 4,100 people are members. I can click on members and see the entire list of members. And then I can connect with agents in that group. So when you click on members, it's going to show you first, obviously, and then any first-degree connections you've got, and then everybody else in the group is a second-degree connection. So if I want to connect with Stephanie Gallagher-Pechner, professional matchmaker connecting commercial real estate and SAS professional, so that's a commercial real estate person, co-founder at M&M Real Estate Group, Miami, there's a good one, I can connect with him. And because we're members of the same group, I simply say groups. You know, when you connect with somebody, it gives you that question, how do you know this person? You're either a colleague, you're a client, you're a personal friend, you're a schoolmate. Groups is one of those when you have a common group. and you simply select the group, and now you're connecting without the roadblocks that sometimes LinkedIn can put up, right? So you can connect with all those members. With ongoing engagement, you can become what LinkedIn recognizes on pages or groups as a top contributor. Is anybody on this call with us? And there's quite a few that may. Is there anybody on this call with us that is familiar with the top contributor on LinkedIn groups? Is there anybody that's ever seen that? Okay, so the silence on that is deafening. So what happens is absolutely this would work for connecting with bankruptcy attorneys, accountants, CPAs, any of those. Absolutely. What happens when you do a lot of engaging, when you like a whole lot of posts in a group, or you make a post yourself in a group and people engage with it, and you do it frequently. The more frequent that you do it, you're gaining traction inside of the group, and you can become what's known as a top contributor in the group. When that happens, anytime somebody goes to the group, your profile link and basic information is right up at the top that shows you're a top contributor. That goes a long way to brand you as an expert and person of influence, because they don't just give you top contributor because you made a post and then you made another post and then you made another post. You have to engage on other people's posts. Your goal of this entire strategy is to become a top contributor. Once you've engaged and been active in the group for a while, you can then begin to post your own content. But please be cool about it. Provide value to the agents. Again, you're not posting stuff about your rates. The agents don't care. They're not worried about that right now today. They don't care about your rates, not when they're in a group of their peers. They're looking for things to help them with their business. To be seen as an influencer, you must provide them with cool stuff that is specifically for them. So what kind of stuff should you be posting? Couple of ideas: industry updates. Now, when I say industry updates, I'm not talking about the new FHA regulations. I'm talking about real estate industry updates, where the housing market is today, where the prognosticators are predicting it's going to be in 10 months. Important information to know about, USDA homes, things that are specific to the real estate agent. Funny stories are always a good one. Yes, even in these professional networks, even in these groups that are designed to be specifically professional networking groups, it's okay to tell a funny story. Everybody likes to laugh. Now, you don't want to just lead right out there with your first post being a funny story, because then you're just the clown guy, right? You want to provide cool content, but mix in something funny now and then, because people will see you as real. But give them some cool content first. Don't just start out with the funny stuffs, right? Local events, especially if it's a charity event, those are great to post. The realtors always love to be involved in the local community stuff, and they will look to you as an influencer if you're the one that's helping them remember about these community things that are going on, or providing the information to access to them. Marketing tips for real estate agents is always a big winner. Anytime you can give them information that's designed to help them grow their business, that's specific to them. Here's how you should, are you marketing to your database stuff? Hey, are you sending out, are you using send out cards for prospects that didn't buy? Or are you little things, marketing tips for real estate agents. You guys know what that kind of stuff is. Little things that can help them in their business. Hey, are you doing video for each of your listings? Did you know that 86% of buyers look at videos about the community prior to purchasing a home? You need to make sure you're in that space. Little things. Another and a big one, and this is one, again, just like the funny stories, you don't want to lead off with this, but this is something as you become a contributor and an influencer, you can put it in there, is invitations to your presentations that you're doing. You know, when you guys are doing live presentations, you've got a network of real estate professionals. Typically your groups are going to be localized, but you've got a network of professionals that you can invite to these events. It's a great way to promote your events and presentations that you're doing and get a large volume of people there. It also helps with branding those that maybe aren't in your market area but are interested. They're starting to recognize that you're an influencer, that you're a contributor on the real estate page, that you're providing cool value. And now, oh, this guy teaches stuff too. Again, it goes a long way for branding you as that expert and influencer in the group. The more you do this, the more people you connect with, the more often LinkedIn shows your profile to people in their people you may know section. So you remember yesterday we talked about how do you connect with people. Well, every time you get logged in, on the right-hand side, when you go to your home screen, you've got a little section that says people you may know. And that's just always going to show you 3 or 4 right off the bat. But when you click that button, it's going to show you a whole bunch of people you may know. Well, to get the 3 or 4, it only shows people that are influencer. It only shows people that are engaging, that are active users of LinkedIn. And that 3, that little thumbnail of 3. The more people you connect with, the more your network grows. Remember, it's second, first, and second degree connections. As you add real estate agents, your network grows and grows of second degree connections, and those people start to see you show up as people you may know. Then they start to see in their news feed that Joey and Susie and Frank are all connected with Jeff. Well, who's Jeff? Let me go check him out. Now they're clicking your profile. Now they're reading about you. You'll notice, and this was when I realized that this strategy works really well, because it happens, and it is actually dramatically noticeable. It really is a dramatic shift when all of a sudden the number of people requesting to connect with you, it goes nuts. Just, it's almost out of nowhere. It happens. One day I noticed that, hey, you know, it had been 2 months since I got a little email notification that said somebody's viewed your profile on LinkedIn. And then one day I got one that said 5 people have viewed your profile. And then 2 days later, 7 people have viewed your profile. And then all of a sudden I'm like 6, 7, 8, 10 a day requests to connect. It happened dramatically, guys, and it will happen for you dramatically too as you start to develop an engagement pattern, as you start to brand yourself as an expert and a person of influence on these real estate groups. They start to reach out to you. They start to look at your profile. You'll notice it. It is enough of a difference that you actually, holy cow, this is happening. It is a dramatic increase, and it is extremely noticeable when that happens. It's actually kind of cool. It's one of those moments that you're like, yes, you're pumping your fist up. So you're going to continue as people start to connect with you and start asking you to connect. You need to continue with your tags and send those in messages. Remember yesterday we talked about how to tag people as you connect with them in groups of 50 so that we can continue to send those in messages. Well, the other thing that you can do is, statistically, most people, how many on this call, let's just get a survey real quick, how many on this call created their LinkedIn profile with their primary email address, the email address that they check the most, not just some, you know, a junk email, one that you give to all your creditors, not the email that you give out when you're signing up for, you know, the kids thing standing in front of the Publix supermarket. When with our profile, like LinkedIn specifically, because it is specifically a business social media site, it's a business profile. Our mindset when we're creating a business profile is to use our business stuff, which means it is our primary email address. My guess would be 95% of the people on this call, actually with the people that are on this call, I would be surprised if there is someone on this call whose LinkedIn profile is not their primary email address. Same goes for your real estate agents, guys. They are setting up their business profile on LinkedIn with their primary email address. What we can do on LinkedIn is we actually have the ability to export our connections, and we can now send email campaigns to them because part of that export is their email address. They see you active in groups they belong to. Now you're in their email inbox, and you're starting to give them the perception that you're everywhere. They're seeing you. They're recognizing your name, and you're providing cool stuff on their favorite group on LinkedIn, and they get the notification on that. Now you're getting an email for an invite to a presentation you're doing or some weekly tip video. They're seeing your face, so now they're starting to recognize you. It goes a long way. Goes a long way in terms of branding you as an expert, being seen as a top influencer, as an influencer of people, and that's going to go a long way in helping you develop those relationships. People are going to come to you because you're displaying yourself as an expert, right? Now you're doing some email stuff because you've exported their list. Now, to export the list, what you need to do is go to your Connections tab in your dashboard and select the Settings button. Now, you guys remember from yesterday, our dashboard's at the top. We talked about interest today. This time we're going to go again over to Connections, and when you go to Connections, over on the far right-hand side, there's like that little, I don't know, it looks like a cog or a gear. Gear icon. You click on that, and that's going to bring you into your settings for connections. When you go into that, under the advanced settings sections, there is a spot that says export LinkedIn connections. So again, connections, we went to the settings. This is the settings, and on the right there's advanced settings, and it's just a little thing that says export LinkedIn connections. I see a question popped up on that part, and I want to make sure the techie stuff, I want to make sure is handled correctly. All right, so everybody's on the same page. When you click export LinkedIn connections, by default it's set to Microsoft Outlook. And that's Microsoft Outlook is .csv. All of the types of export are a .csv. There's like a Yahoo. There's a couple of other ones. I just leave it on the default every time. There's no reason to take it off because all I really need is a CSV file. Now, you may need to clean up your list a little bit because when you export it, it takes every field. I don't know if you've ever been deep into your profile on LinkedIn, but there's fields like spouse name. There's room for 3 or 4 different business addresses. There's room for 3 or 4 different phone numbers, fax numbers. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. So you're going to have to clean up your list a little bit, but once you do that, you've exported a list of all of your connections on LinkedIn, which 90% of those email addresses you see is their primary email address. That is not typically not their Century 21 unless that's their primary that they check the most. It is the email address that that person checks the most almost every time. Okay? And this is what it looks like when I click that button. It brings you into here. By default, it's set on Microsoft Outlook CSV. There's a little drop down. You can choose Outlook Express, Yahoo, Mac OS operating. There is an export for Macs. And then you just click the export button. That downloads basically a Excel spreadsheet saved in a CSV file. You can delete rows, you can add rows, you can any of that kind of stuff you want to do. You can take away, you can add to. It's all you. And so now, based on the last couple of days, you now have a complete strategy for using LinkedIn to grow your network of referral partners. I will tell you from firsthand knowledge, I've said this a couple of times, and it bears repeating because it's important for you guys to hear. I presented this to you not because I needed to show you some cool gizmo or flashbang widget. This is a little more than just your average, ordinary, shiny object, guys. Facebook, I can tell you that running Facebook ads works because I've used it. I've seen it work. I know that it works from firsthand knowledge, right? I know that for a fact that using Facebook ads, you can generate some leads and consumer direct buyer leads from that. I believe in it. We talked about it. That's why we talked about it. Creating and developing referral partner relationships through LinkedIn, I believe in it. I talk about it, and I wanted to present it to you over the last couple of days because I've seen it work firsthand. I can tell you for a fact, without equivocation, that over the last year and 5 months, that I showed you her profile yesterday, my friend Judy in Northern California, just outside of the San Francisco Bay Area, 100% of her business in the last year and a half has come directly from the results of this strategy. Now, it took about 4 months for her to get results from this strategy. The first month was literally just, first thing she did, we went in, we set up her LinkedIn profile, we made it perfect. She started connecting with some people. We had a conversation about, hey, you need to get involved in some groups and just start commenting on what others are doing in the groups so that when you send them a friend request, they kind of have an idea of who you are. And we're going to, the people that we comment on, we're going to send them a connection request. That was the original strategy. She started doing that, commenting, liking. Lo and behold, 2 weeks into it, because of the amount of liking and commenting that was going on, she became the top contributor on the California Association of Realtors site. They loved her. First thing that happened is, out of nowhere, she got that dramatic increase of people starting to ask to connect with her. She called me, Paul, you're not going to believe this. I had 32 people request to connect with me this weekend. Request to connect with you, or just people you connected with? Because I know she was, part of her strategy was she was doing 20 requests to connect every single day. She said, no, these aren't people I've asked to connect with me. These are requests that people are sending me to connect with them. So that was kind of neat. So saying, let's try something a little different here. I want you to post your this was back when she was doing Agent Mastermind at the time. I said, I want you to post your Agent Mastermind invitation there and see what kind of response you get. Lo and behold, she posted it, and she posted it, and she got like 27 people register the first week that she did that, and it was fantastic. Other loan officers that were members of the California Association of Realtors and also utilizing the program, that Agent Mastermind program that she was using, took her lead. They saw what was happening. They saw, Judy, they saw her post, and they saw the comments that happened underneath the post. There was like 4 or 5 comments. And so another guy tried posting his. It was up there for about 3 hours and got pulled down by the administrator. You want to know why? Because he never took the time to engage with the crowd. He never took the time to like and comment on other people's stuff. So it kind of clicks. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right? And so that's been the way that she started with it. She's now well over 1,200 connections on LinkedIn. When we started the strategy, she had 30. She's well over 1,200. She hasn't sent out the request to somebody to connect with her in, golly, at least a year. Most people are asking to connect with her. She contributes on that site 3-4 times a week. She's seen as an expert. What it's led to over a period of time, just to kind of cut the story short for you, what it's led to is her phone will ring. Hey, this is so-and-so. I'm with so-and-so office. Can you come down and teach a class to us about how you do your LinkedIn profile? So she's actually gone to realtor offices and done a class on setting up your LinkedIn profile, all based on just getting engaged, liking, commenting, being willing to spend the time to engage on other people's stuff, and that made it to where she, because she's an influencer, because she's seen as a contributor, she's now able to provide, put some of her stuff out there too and get the benefit from it. I showed you guys yesterday. It is Judy Hamilton. Let me bring her up for you so you guys can go check her out. This is Judy, and definitely go check her out because she's doing some awesome, awesome stuff. How can I change the email that I use to create my LinkedIn account? So, James, it's pretty easy to change the email that you've got for your LinkedIn account. If you come to right up here where your account settings are, where like your icon of your little guy, go up there and go into, where is it? Is it there? Hold on. Let's plod through this real quick. Let's edit. No, I'm not. Hold on. We'll find it. Oh, I think I changed it recently. Hold on. I changed it. Oh, I'll tell you. Well, I won't tell you on this class why I changed it, but I had to change my LinkedIn profile, my LinkedIn password, and my Gmail password recently. Was unhappy about that. Okay, so that's where you go. So from home, let me come back home so I can show you where you go. I went to my little person, my little guy up here where it shows all my settings, and then privacy and settings. That's going to take you into where your basic stuff is. It shows you, your name, when you became a member, primary email, and it has your primary, and it gives you the option to change or add. Okay? And then there's your password change or add. But to change your email, you go into that privacy and settings in that first block where it shows primary email, there's the option to change or add. Okay? So when you click on that, it brings up the thing. Now, if you've got multiple email addresses, one will show as primary. You can change you'll get the option to change the other one to the primary, and then you can remove any email addresses except for the primary email address. All right, guys, girls, any questions from you guys? Now, one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk to you about, it's not as important as becoming a member of the different groups. If you go to groups, and again, you guys will see I've got a whole bunch of groups that are fishing related that I am a member of, hunting, fishing, outdoor professionals. That's got a whole bunch of updates, but I know from experience in the past that that's got a lot of spammy stuff on it. And so through some of my communications, what I discovered is that some people wanted a different group. So I actually went ahead and created a fishing group. Now, I haven't gotten the same amount of impact off my own fishing group than I have from some of the other groups that I belong to. And while I'm here, I'm going to manage, and I'm going to go into request to join and just make sure I got everybody. I've told everybody, owner, time on the water, that's a fishing type person. If they're not fishing related, they are not going to get approved. I don't know how he's fishing related at all. From the United Kingdom, declined. And Peter Hockman from Norway is a wellness and fitness guide, declined. So part of me creating my group was making it so that there's not the spammy kind of stuff. It's discussions about fishing and fishing related stuff, right? Haven't gotten the same impact out of my own group as I have being a member of other groups and just constantly engaging with other stuff. You know, so if I come over here to the Ultimate Fishing directory and look through, like, look at all the spam stuff on here. This is terrible. I think this is the one that everybody got upset with. It's all payday loan and personal credit loan stuff on that one. Bass Fishing Network is what used to be a great one. So you get somebody like Mr. Wiffle Lure Web Video Installments have been making videos to put up on a website. If you have not seen these baits, please feel free to check out the site. So what I would do is first, my due diligence, go and watch the thing, and then comment. Love these baits. How do I get my hands on some? You know, kind of like that. It would be an engagement that I would do based on, you know, whether or not it's a product that I'm interested in. You guys will do the same thing. You'll go to your networks. Didn't mean to do that. Bear with me one second. You'll go to your different networks. Let me see if I can't find one of my real estate ones. Real Estate Agent Society of Portland. Today's real estate agent group for highly motivated something or others. Tampa Real Estate Insider. And what Tampa Real Estate Insider, I can tell that Ray Catanese is the realtor extraordinaire. So what I want to do is I want to make it a point. She's who I need to become close with. So I would like her comment, you know, like her posts. I would comment on her stuff. The problem with appraisals and what you can do about it. Oh, great post. Love what you had to say here. Maybe even have a counterpoint or something like that. Develop a conversation, right? If you're planning on moving to Tampa, here are a few suggestions you want to go over concerning your relocation costs. Oh, that's great information. I know a couple of people looking to move to Tampa, and I'm going to make sure I forward it on. Whatever it is, you're just commenting and posting and liking and engaging. A couple of times a week I receive email that someone wants to be part of my group, people I never heard of. I have not done anything on LinkedIn. How are these people finding me and wanting me to make them part of my listing? So somewhere along the line, somewhere down the way, you've probably created a group somehow, James. The way that you check that is just up at the top under interests, go to groups. The groups that you're an administrator on, if you come into the settings section, you're going to see manage settings on groups that you own, groups that you are the owner of. Those will also be the ones that show up first in your list of groups that you have here. Those will always show up first here. So, and what that is, you're gonna get that. I get guys from China or profiles from China asking to join my group all the time, and dudes I don't know, like from just wherever, all over God's green earth. You just got to decline those people, or you can remove groups. Once you have a group, you can delete groups. It's easy enough. Again, you go in through that settings section, so groups. And then you go to the little gear thing over there into your group settings, and then you would just like manage your settings, right? And that's it. That's how it works. Oh, your LinkedIn network. So what they're trying to do is that's a connection request, man. That's somebody asking to connect with you. And people typically will connect with you based on they're connected with somebody like you. They did a search and your name popped up. They're doing a similar marketing strategy as we are. That's a connection. You can ignore connections. You don't have to connect with everybody that requests to. So if I come over here to invitations, these are all people that have asked me to, that have invited me to connect with them. So I've got 5 pending invitations, and I can either check mark or not check mark like this. If I don't want to connect with somebody, I simply hit that X button, and I'm not going to connect with that person. But if I do want to connect with that person, I simply hit the checkbox, and I'm now connected with that person. Easy enough. Psychiatric counselor. Did you see that? I got a connection, a suggested connection with a psychiatric counselor. I don't know what I have done to make them think that I need a psychiatric counselor. I don't need no psychiatric counselor. I hear you, Jeff. I hear you, brother. I'm not even repeating that, James, but you're probably right, my friend. All right, guys, girls, that's it for today. I hope you do take into consideration implementing a LinkedIn strategy. Guys, I'm going to tell you that the stuff that I went over with you yesterday and today, first-hand knowledge, it works, and it works quite well. It's not difficult to do. It doesn't take up a whole bunch of time, and can be very, very lucrative for you. So I hope that you implement that into your business. We will see you guys tomorrow. Keep your eyes open for your invite for tomorrow's top producer interview, and we will see you then. Have a fantastic day, everybody, and we'll see you right back here, same time, same channel on Monday. Have a great day.